If you must blink, do it now.
The tale of Princess Kaguya is an old Japanese tale of a beautiful young woman who was sent to Earth as a baby and raised as a princess with a loving family, and eventually forced to forget her life as a mortal and rejoin her true family on the moon, losing the life she had built for herself on Earth. This story serves as an allegory for the pain of loss that people feel in life and the inevitability of death. Kubo and the Two Strings is, in a way, a continuation of this story and message. Kubo finds much of its basis in the tale of Princess Kaguya, and the way it deals with topics in life, death, and accepting the pain that the two bring. The movie presents itself as an emotional and powerful retelling of that old story, with similar but more hopeful messages. Early in the movie, it is established that Kubo, as a storyteller, rarely finishes his stories, a fact that many of the villagers lament. Not only this, but the themes of death and life and rebirth in a new form are also established just as early. The story begins during the eve of a festival to be celebrated by the village in honor of their dead loved ones, a time period when they can commune with their living relatives. Death's existence and presence permeates the land, but no one fears it. Instead, the people wait patiently and excitedly to see their loved ones again. Like the tale of Princess Kaguya, Kubo begins with a woman from the moon, having been sent to Earth. The movie informs us of the first major loss, Kubo's eye, stolen from his head by his grandfather, and the second, his mother's mind. After a devastating injury, she's left catatonic during the day and only barely lucid during the night. Kubo has to grow up learning to live with the loss in his life, compensating heavily for having one eye, learning to play music and using it to earn money to feed himself and his mother. Kubo's life is defined in part by this loss. He has learned to accept it and live with it, while, in contrast, his grandfather, the Moon King, lacks this ability. The Moon King and his other two daughters lack the ability of Kubo and his mother's that allows them to live with their losses. The Moon King blinds himself and his children to the pain of loss, removing their eyes physically as a symbol of their emotional blindness. Kubo's grandfather lives in fear of the pain one feels on Earth, as well as the eventual death of all mortal life, and he wants to keep his family from feeling that pain. And because of that fear, he hides himself away from the mortal Earth. But the issue he fails to see is that his attempt at hiding his emotions is pointless. It has been said that one often meets their destiny on the path they take to avoid it. This rings true in the story of Kubo. The Moon King claims to have rid himself of earthly emotions and death, but he's wrong. He's angered by the betrayal of Kubo's mother, and later, Kubo's refusal to join him and let him take his other eye. Kubo's aunts explain how they are angered and saddened by his mother's betrayal. Even Kubo's mother, as a former soldier of her father alongside Kubo's aunts, succumbs to human emotion. Love, first for Hanzo, Kubo's father, then love for Kubo himself. Their attempt to hide from the mortal emotions is mute and pointless, as they simply cause each other pain anyway. And finally, death. Despite their best efforts, death claims every member of Kubo's mother's family. Just like how Kaguya's earthly family dies after she's forced to leave. They do their best to prevent her from being taken by the Moon People, but inevitably they fail. Kubo's mother dies early in the movie protecting him, though at this point she's no longer a victim of her father's desire to live as an immortal, detached from emotion. Kubo's aunts both die, one slain by his mother in the form of a magic snow monkey talisman, and the other killed by Kubo himself. Their mission to become immortal is thwarted in the end. Finally, the Moon King himself dies, but in a different way. Kubo gives him his sight back, turning him mortal and erasing his memories of his past wickedness. Kubo accepts this new man as family, as do all of the villagers. The Moon King dies, but someone else is born. Overall, this story does manage to work as a sequel or retelling of the tale of Princess Kaguya, not as a sad one, but as a hopeful one. Because yes, all things do die, and all stories must end, but the end isn't something to fear. The journey towards it is something we should cherish and enjoy. It's life. One line from a villager perfectly sums up this with a simple phrase: people like an ending.
His name is Kubo. His grandfather stole something from him. And that really is the least of it.